Hi, my name's Emma Tucker.
I'm Molly Keep.
I'm Curtis Van Roy.
I'm Kim Dome.
And I'm Trishna Hall. Separated, we are all individuals, but together, we're integrated. We come from Fern Creek, one of the most diverse schools in JCPS, which is why we chose to take on Patrick Latanga's challenge to work with refugees and immigrants in our school and help them find pathways toward civic engagement.
The overall goal of the integrated program is to help ESL students feel like they have a place at our school and their voice can be heard. The Red String of Fate is an old story originating in China. The gods connected people who were destined to meet with an invisible string. Regardless of time and place, those who were connected by the red string were meant to be in each other's lives. With our integrated program, we will also wanted to help integrate the refugees and immigrants into our community and help connect people together.
With all of the diversity in our school, we are very divided. If you take a walk down the hallways of Fern Creek, you'll see English speakers divided from the refugee and immigrant population. If we asked you to carry out a conversation with someone who barely spoke your language, it would be very awkward and for most high school students, scary.
59.8% of our school is made up of people of color. 285 of our 1,700 students are ESL students. Along with this, 575 students have limited English proficiency. Our school has 53 countries of origin.
We saw a problem in this. We are so diverse, but diversity does not mean we should be divided. Our community, Fern Creek High School, is deprived of refugee and immigrant interaction with native English speakers. Through the program, our team has designed and will continue to develop interactions between students with different backgrounds, languages, ethnicities, and cultures will increase.
We want to see refugees and immigrants in our age group feel free to speak at Fern Creek High School and feel that they and their ideas are accepted. To achieve this goal, we developed a cultural exchange program where we could share ideas and have an opportunity to learn from each other. First, we contacted guest speakers and companies, and we recruited participants by posting flyers around school and reaching out to the ESL teachers at Fern Creek.
In order to put a program into place where this can be successfully achieved, we created a curriculum which discussed civic problems that refugee and immigrant teens face, such as discrimination, lack of employment, and access to technology. By achieving these milestones, we successfully kicked off our program and will guide ESL students at our school to engage in civic participation and be a more active voice in our school.
This program we instituted is not us forcing American culture on ESL students. We want our community to reflect who's a part of it, so we created a two-way exchange program. The dynamics of our event wasn't us lecturing them, but a two-way discussion where we taught them about American culture and they taught us about theirs. One example of this is a food day that we plan to have so we can learn about everyone's cultural foods in a dinner table style discussion.
Our program is the first of many stepping stones towards becoming a more active in the community because it creates a comfortable situation where ESL students can practice everyday speaking. This will lead to increase in civic engagement and participation because we will no longer be limited by language proficiency. Over time, we will expand our program by sharing our curriculum with JCPS schools to work towards making Louisville a better place to live and increase civic participation and engagement in the area.
Our first after-school meeting was March 6th, and we only met for 1 hour. Out of all of our 17 participants, 10 languages and 4 countries were represented. One of our participants, Sarah Kim, said, "This right here is the definition of community, and we are happy that everyone feels like they are becoming a part of a community that will reflect us more."
When discussing discrimination that refugees and immigrants faced, Bayon Sala said, "I was really quiet when you guys were talking. The truth was, in my head, I was fighting. I really wanted to talk, but I was shy, and if someone actually came up to me, I definitely would have come out faster or easier. I was a little nervous, but you guys are really welcoming, and I know what it feels like for people to put stereotypes on me. So yeah, just reach out to somebody."
Prior to COVID-19, we contacted other refugee and immigrant-owned organizations, such as the Maya Collection and the Migrant Kitchen, to help us find pathways for our ESL peers to follow after their high school years at Fern Creek. We've already planned 2 more meetings to take place in the future that focus on issues related to civic engagement, including food, finance, entrepreneurship, community, and culture.
We are not the only people leading. Our ESL students are also actively creating this program with us. They invited us to join them in celebrating Holi, a Hindu holiday celebrating spring, love, and joy. This program is continuing to develop and improve, and we are nowhere near finishing. By learning how to interact with people from different places in the world, we can overcome the greatest barrier opposing our generation, language.
This will ultimately help us create a more integrated and close-knit community. We simply cannot let language keep us apart. We all need to put in work to create a better future. After all, it takes 2 to make a community. Thank you.
Wow.
Good job.
Well done. Starting
Good
day.
job. Well done.
Good.
Nice.
All right, give us a second while we get the
Awesome.
back to you.
Judges turn back on. Good job, you guys.
Thank
I'm
you.
so hard
Thank
you
you so
worked
much.
on that. Congratulations.
That was really polished.
We've been up since 8 practicing.
Wow.
It shows.
You can tell.
Definitely chose. Okay. Okay, Fern Creek. It's going to be time to answer some questions from the judges. Is everybody ready? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Okay. We have our first question coming from Judge Josh Miller. Good morning.
Good morning, students. Thank you all for your presentation. I really enjoyed hearing about everyone you all were able to connect with, and also I would love to hear a little bit more about how you all envision this project being sustained. You mentioned a few different facets like the curriculum and different gatherings, and also other students who have been involved. So a little bit more about that plan.
For sustainability, we actually had to scale down our idea multiple times because it was too broad and vague in the beginning. But we've decided on a weekly or 2 meetings a month where we meet up at the Ramsey Room at Fern Creek, and we've been planning meetings in advance, but we've also been trying to include the ESL students in planning our future meetings, so we're trying not to plan too far in advance. So far, we have the second and third meeting planned, as well as a small little reunion thing, I guess, graduation ceremony almost at the end where we can just hang out and talk with each other.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing that, and I appreciate hearing that you thought intentionally enough about scaling down so that it was achievable. Do you mind hitting on the curriculum as part of the plan a little bit more in terms of what that includes?
So the curriculum, you can go.
Oh, you can go. Okay, so basically the curriculum, we looked up what exactly civic engagement and participation was. And so we kind of dove into the specifics of each, like there were 4 sections. And so we came up with the specifics of each part of that. And we wanted to focus on like one part of that in each meeting. So the first week we kind of talked about like cultural identity, and then also like problems that refugees face, like discrimination. And then the second week, we're going to talk about like neighborhood and built environment. So that's kind of like your food and like where you live. And then the third week that we have planned is about entrepreneurship. So like kind of like starting your own business and like interviewing skills and stuff like that.
And going on from there, we do print out packages for the students to look through, and it goes in depth of what we are going to do that day of the meeting so they don't get confused and they can freely ask any questions to us.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm on mute. We're going to get our next question from Judge Letitia Sparks.
Thank you guys. Great job. Really enjoyed your presentation. And I want to talk a little bit about, or ask you a little bit about the very last part of your written report to us. You talked about how you split into different committees and how you did the work, and that actually you had a little bit of a concern early on because you were struggling to get started. Can you talk a little bit about how you came together as a team? And clearly your team worked and you got here today. So tell me about how you guys kind of overcame that.
We had issues at first, but it was because we'd all known each other for a while. So when we started, we kind of expected everyone to have everything done perfectly, which wasn't the case at all. And we started by creating group chats on Instagram, Remind, talking at lunch, and meeting up together to discuss meetings, and we also kept to-do lists and included the main important points of each meeting so that if someone had missed that meeting, we could get them up to date. On top of that, we had up to 3 meetings a week because of schedule conflicts, and so many of us are in multiple after-school activities.
All right, we're gonna go with a question from Judge Lorna.
Good morning, everybody. Very well done. You obviously worked very hard on it and it shows, so congratulations to you. I would love to hear more about if there are any similar organizations within your school or within your community that are kind of echoing what you're doing, and could you partner with them, or what are you doing differently that makes your project so unique?
So we have a similar program that we kind of got an idea from, which was at the elementary school. One of our peers that's at the high school has started. It's called Books with Buddies, where the high school students go over to the elementary school and read to refugee and immigrant children, like from kindergarten through 2nd grade, who are having trouble reading in English, and trying to help them like learn the language at an early age. So we kind of thought about that in a way and try to make it on a bigger scale for the high school kids, and thought about it as more of like us getting together as friends, and then possibly making Books with Buddies sort of like that, like making it smaller for the other school, the elementary school.
Yeah, and then another thing is there's lots of language exchange programs in the Louisville area, so we really wanted to distinguish ourselves from them because we're not just a language exchange program, even though that's our main focus. We really want to harbor on the fact that it's a two-way exchange, and that both us and the ESL participants that we're working with are leading in the program. So we're not like forcing them to learn English, and we're not forcing them to be a quote unquote American. We're trying to work together so that the community and like the people in the community and everything that the community does represents people who are in the community, not just like the people who are born and raised in Louisville.
Thank you. And you guys do a great job of that in your presentation, letting everybody know that it is a two-way. It's not just you telling other people information. It's about learning from others also. So you do a great job of that. Thank you.
Excellent. We got a question from Judge Garvin.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for an excellent presentation. I was curious, along the lines of this kind of two-way communication, if you could help maybe help us understand how you'll measure that impact. So going forward, obviously there'll be some communal sharing, there'll be a lot learned, but how do you plan to document that growth on both ends?
Well, our methods of measuring success is more qualitative, but in the future, we plan on including ESL students in planning these meetings and getting feedback from what they want to do on what we could improve, on what we're doing right. And we hope to have them bring their families as well if they're interested in coming to our meetings.
Yeah, and we also are planning on having more polls and surveys so that we can like actually have the data on paper. Because in our last meeting, we just asked them if they'd come again, and we had everyone said yes, but we never really got into specifics of what we could do better from their point of view. So that's what we plan to do in the future, so that way we're more prepared and ready.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well done, Fern Creek.
Nice job, Fern Creek.
Well done.
Okay, the judges are going to have to deliberate in the Innovation Lab.
Good job, all. We'll see you later.